Hey guys, welcome back to Sincerely Ramis. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and like the video. If you are a returning subscriber, hey girl, welcome back. But today I have a really quick story time about something that happened in my childhood. It was really crazy what this man did, but like a black mama, my mama always made something shake. So I'm gonna just give y'all the little rundown. I'm gonna give y'all a little backstory. So most of my childhood, my mom worked 3 to 11, but she did sometimes do a double shift where she would go through her 3 to 11 shift and then straight into an 11 to 7. So that's gonna make sense a little bit later on in the video. There's not that many people involved in this story. It's really not that long, but it is a little bit wild. So my mom was married at this time to Ghost. They were newly married at this time, I believe, and I was really young. So we were living in this project building called the Lincoln Village. It's still there, still thriving to this day. People still live in the PJs over there. But I ain't gonna lie, I had like a late childhood over there. All of my homegirls, homeboys, they lived in the neighborhood, and they lived in like either the old village, which was over that way, Vita Gardens, all of that stuff, all of the surrounding other little project communities or buildings, if you will, Boston Way, all of that. Yeah, with the busy hallways, all of that. So we lived in Lincoln Village. And to set the scene, so my mom and I, like our family, we lived on the first floor. So we lived in, like if you walked in the building, we lived on the first floor to the left. But my Nana lived in the same building on the 3rd floor. So when you walked up onto the 3rd floor, she was the first apartment on the right. Well, the only apartment on the right. So my Nana lived there, and then after some time, my Nana gave her apartment up there. She moved somewhere else, and she gave it to my aunt. So my Nana lived upstairs from us. Just keep that in mind in this video. So my mom this time, I'm gonna say, I was maybe in like, I was a kid. Like I was in kindergarten, maybe. Yeah, I wasn't in 1st grade yet for sure, because when we ended up moving, that's when I ended up going to 1st grade at Thurgood Marshall. So I was, I think, in kindergarten at this time. So my brother, he's a little bit older than me. So he probably was around like 8 or 9-ish, maybe. I don't know. Can't really give you the ages we were, but we were pretty young. So, and then my little sister was a baby at the time, like an infant. Just so we're clear. So I'm a toddler. My little brother's, my big brother is like 8 or 9. My little sister, she's a baby. So this particular day, my mom is working a 3 to 11 shift, and her husband Ghost is watching us, right? Babysitting us. Everything's going cool. Everything's normal. So my mom is at work, and she's, a little bit more than halfway through her 3 to 11 shift, and her supervisor asks her, can she work a double? And my mom, she caught it and played it off to them like she was thinking about it, but like she knew she wasn't staying for that 11 to 7 because she had my little sister at home or whatever. Although her husband, know how to hold it down when she's not there, she's a baby. My mom's just like that. She just wants to be home with her child. So she was like, no, I'm gonna go home, whatever. So, but she didn't end up telling them that. But she did, bear in mind, like, I got my kids at home, I need to get home. So whatever. She ended up finally telling them no or whatever, that she wasn't gonna stay, which was good because probably maybe like 45 minutes after the people asked her, or her supervisor asked her to stay for the 11 to 7 shift as well, she gets a call from my Nana, like frantically calling her, because my Nana's like, hey, I came downstairs to check on the kids, and the door was left open, like it was wide open, and there's no adult in the house, like where you at? And my mom's like, I'm at work. And she was like, well, the kids haven't eaten or anything like that, like what the heck is going on? So my mom's like, my mom freaking out, like, what the hell? So the first thing that my mom's thinking, like, thank you, Jesus, that I told these people that I couldn't stay for the 11 to 7 because I have to go home. What the hell is going on? So my mom was like, okay, I'm finna leave. I'm finna come, whatever. So my Nana's like, no, you don't have to leave. Like, I'm here now. Just finish your shift. My mom was almost done. So it was like a couple more hours. So she just basically told her, finish your shift. when you get back, I'll be here, or whatever the case may be. Hopefully, you know, maybe he just ran to the store, because if you're from my town, there's a store called The Spot. It has been back there for forever. There's, you know, the across the street. Well, if you go behind the building, because I lived in a building that was on the Langford Street side. I didn't live on the what was it, Main Street or Memorial, whatever street The Spot is on. My Nana was thinking maybe he walked over there. But honey, by the time my mom came home, he still wasn't there. So my mom ended up finishing her shift and all of that. And by the time she got back, it was just still my mom's mom, like my Nana, me, my brother, and my sister. So my mom and my Nana are just like talking it out. Like my mom's running her through her day, and my Nana's running her through her day, and about, you know, what was going on. So my mom's like, I cannot think where the heck he could be, like what's going on. So at first my mom was like, did something happen to him? Is something wrong? Like, you know, is he okay? So he had some family members that lived in the vicinity. I remember he like was nowhere to be found. Like my mom was calling and calling and calling. She called his mom. I remember she called her sister. She was calling everybody that she could think of that would know his whereabouts, and nobody knew where the heck he was at or whatever. So my mom is like, I hope he's okay, whatever. So, you know, initially, like, we're watching her go through the motions. She came in the house, she took a shower, you know, she talked to my Nana, she was crying and, you know, doing all of these things. Like, her emotions is just going, you know, like, what the fuck? So she went from, like, I know this man didn't leave my kids in his house by themselves all this time, to, like, is he okay? Like, this is not normal. Like, what the hell is going on? So, y'all, like, eventually he comes strolling in the house like nothing happens, you know, like, late night. Like, he just come, you know, creeping in the house. So it's after the time that my mom would have gotten home from work. So he must have like lost his motherfucking mind. Like, it's no way. Like, I don't know if in his brain he thought that he was creeping into the house like and beat my mom home and it was just us, or if like he knew he had like screwed up. I don't know. I'm a child at this point, but this is me, like, hindsight 2020 thinking back. I don't know if he like knew, oh, you know, she here, or like, or what, I don't know. But homeboy tried to come creep in the house, and y'all, all hell broke loose. So my Nana was still down here for, you know, still down in our apartment for some reason. I don't know, I guess maybe just making sure my mom was okay or whatever. But he ended up coming in the house. It was like around like 2 a.m. And come to find out, he was with, I don't want to like put people's business out there, but he was with a mutual friend's husband, who also is notorious and known for like getting skied and, you know, doing booger sugar. He was with him doing booger sugar. Like, when he came in the house, like, he was still like visibly like high. Like, he was still like on one. Like, he was still like, I don't know, I never seen anybody like that, y'all. He was like words slowing, like, baby, I'm sorry. Like, he could barely stand up. Now, this is a thicker guy. He wasn't fat or anything like that, but he was kind of like, you know, like stocky, aki, shorter man. He's not super tall. He's taller than my mom, of course. But I don't know. He usually was like a well put together guy. Like, in front of us, he was, you know, like a fairly attractive guy. He seems normal, but on this day, y'all, it wasn't like a drunk either. He wasn't like a slush, like falling all over the place or nothing like that. But like, it was like, you know, that fiend lean, when they lean and don't fall. Like, he was hitting them hoes. He was leaning forward and, I'm sorry, baby, like drooling out the mouth. Like, it was disgusting. Of course, I'm peeking out the door trying to see what's going on, because I hear my mom hollering and screaming. So like, one thing about my mom, she's like a firecracker. Like, she's so pretty, but like, when she's upset, it's like, ah! Like, much like me. But like, that's why I try not to get on man, y'all. It's not cute. Like, y'all, that's my dog playing with his toy. So sorry, I'm a mother. But anyway, he ends up coming in the house. He's super duper high. My mom is cursing him the hell out. She ends up talking to one of her homegirls who found out where he was at by way of whatever, and told her, yeah, he was over here or over there getting high with such and such, da 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 da. So like, all I hear is my mom going the fuck off. all I hear is my mom going the hell off. So you left my fucking kids in the house all night by themselves because you getting high? Because you getting ski? Like, motherfucker, I know you did not leave my kids in the house by themselves. Such and such told me you was on Boynton Avenue getting high. Da, 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 da. So, like, my mom is choking him. She's slapping him. She's, like, just, like, they getting into a whole ass fight. Like, he's not hitting her, like, back, but, like, he's, like, trying to, like, restrain her and all that. But, y'all, he's so high. Like, he's high on his mind. And my mom was, like, the more she looked at him, like, she was just getting more mad. And, like, it just was escalated. So my nana was basically like, I'm not going to watch y'all fight. This man's all high out his mind. You are, super duper emotional, whatever the case. My nana, like, I'm going to call the cops if y'all don't stop. So my mom ended up letting him go. He ended up going wherever he went for the night or whatever. And I remember, like, my mom just, like, sobbing the whole night. Like, she just couldn't believe it. Like, she was just in, like, total shock, total disbelief. It was crazy as hell. So my mom is, like, now that I'm thinking about it as an adult, my mom is going through the struggle of, okay, this motherfucker put my kids in danger. That's number one. And then I'm finding out that my husband is getting high. Like, doing, like, can you imagine, like, as a young parent, you going to work, busting your behind to provide for your family or whatever. And because he worked too, but obviously he worked during the day. My mom worked 3 to 11, like, so he worked during the time we were at school. So can you imagine you at work and your mom calling you, telling you that your kids is home alone, whatever the case may be. So you going through the emotions that, okay, this nigga left my kids home by themselves. Nah, no way. There's no way he would do that. Something have to happen to him. Okay, whatever. He don't show up at 11 o'clock. He don't show up at 12. He don't show up at 1. He comes in the house 2 o'clock. It's 2 a.m. and he's sloshed, like smacked high. This is your first time ever seeing him high. Because I asked my mom, I'm like, was this his debut to you with the drugs? She's like, girl, I never heard him mention anything about getting high. I never see him get high. My mom, she don't do no type of nothing. Like, my mom barely even drank at this time. So she's like, this is how I found out that my husband was doing drugs. Like, this is how I found out that my husband was getting high. I came home and my kids was home by themselves. I'm talking to her because I'm just like, there's no way. So anyway, so him and my mom end up working it out or whatever, and he promised her he was gonna stop, and things got okay. So that was probably like October time. Maybe we're in like November. We had just moved to this new house on Sewell Avenue, and my mom ended up trying to call his job. He was working at a nursing home. She called his job to, like, say, hey, there's an emergency at home. She needed to talk to her husband or whatever. But when she ended up calling, they was like, oh, he no longer works here. So my mom was like, what the hell? He no longer works here. So she immediately, like, panicking. She freaking out. She's trying to figure out, like, what the hell. And, like, but one thing about my mom, she's very much like me. She's very calculated. So she didn't say nothing. So she went through her whole day into, like, to see how long it was going to take him to, like, say something, or to see if he would say something or whatever. So my mom knew, because he had recently got, he didn't get written up or anything like that, but you know how you get, like, a warning for, like, calling out. So he had called out to help us move. Obviously, we were all moving as a family. This is my mom's husband, to this house on Sewell Avenue from the PJs. So he called out a couple of days, and they had basically gave him a warning. I guess if you call out anymore, you would, lose your job and or be whatever, reprimanded, whatever. Basically, he was already on thin ice with his job for calling out for when we ended up moving. So my mom was suspecting that maybe he was, fired or something like that from that. But come to find out, y'all, that was not even the motherfucking case. Okay, listen to this. So they end up telling my mom that he doesn't work there anymore. So my mom is like, okay, whatever. Let me try to figure out a plan to see what was going on. So I'm gonna tell y'all what the emergency was, y'all, that she was originally calling him for. So he comes home, like, she went through her day, he went through his day, like nothing happened. My mom was off this day. So he comes home from work like nothing ever happened, y'all, because remember, my mom doesn't know that he got fired. My mom doesn't know that he doesn't work there anymore. So he doesn't know, obviously, that my mom called his job because he doesn't work there. So he comes home fake from work, acting like everything's cool. Give my mom a kiss. Hey, honey. So she like asked him how his day was, and he's just, you know, making up shit, lying. And my mom like was like, oh really? Okay, that's funny because, bitch, I called your job and they said you don't work there no more. So he's like, huh? What? So he's like, wait, why did you call my job? She was like, oh, I was calling your job because there was an emergency here or whatever, whatever. So he tried to deflect like, oh, what happened? Like, what happened? What was going down? But he don't know. But bitch, you was setting yourself up, you dummy. Because she's like, the emergency was she was cleaning up and she found a rolled up dollar bill with like little white residue on it. So he was obviously still sniffing that sugar, sugar. So she was like, yeah, I was calling you to press you about this, you know, whatever, whatever. Obviously, she was going to call him to time to come home from work, and she was going to press him about it at home, not on the phone. But, so she threw it at him like this, whatever, whatever. So they ended up getting into it, y'all. They end up getting into it, and they arguing or whatever. They arguing or whatever. He acting all dumb. He acting like he don't know what she's talking about. And oh, that's not mine. And this, that, and the third. And my mom like, bitch, the only adults that's in here is me and you. And I don't do drugs, obviously. So it's, you know, like it has to be you or whatever. And my mom was just like on some shit like, this is your last time with this nonsense. And at this point, you're showing me that you're doing this around my children, and like, you're not being responsible about whatever you got going on. You just leaving it around. She's just like, no, it's too much. You're done. Get out. So anyway, he was acting all dumb when my mom pressed him about it, whatever the case may be. Like I said, they ended up breaking up or whatever because they ended up getting into like a scuffle and all that. My mom like, you're not about to be running around here trying to put your hands on me because you keep getting caught doing drugs. Like, no, we're not doing that. So they get into a scuffle. My mom ended up having to bust this man in his head with a candle because he really was like trying to like choke her out and like do the most. Y'all, my dog wilding. Graham, what I just say? Sit down. So him and her, they end up breaking up or whatever the case may be. But my mom was like, you know, I'm not gonna lie. Looking back, I guess I can say like I really witnessed my mom like heart be broken. Like not on some old like she was being a simp, but like, you know, she was in love with this man. She did love him, and we did have like a decent life before we found out that he was like doing drugs and stuff. Like we were doing okay. We just moved into this house. Everything was looking up for us. We done moved out to PJs, but he big up. So I watched my mom like, you know, like start mourning the loss of her husband, not because he was dead, but because he was on drugs. And, you know, also deal with the fact that, you know, like my children, you know, have been put in danger a couple of times in the midst of this, and more than, you know, that in herself, like, damn, I did this, I'm dating this man who don't give a F about me and my children, basically. And also, my little sister was really attached to him. That's not her dad, but that was my mom's husband, and they married when my sister was very young, so him and her were like this. So, like, my mom was, like, distraught. She was pissed the fuck off about it or whatever. Him and my mom had this arrangement where he used to get paid to provide a service for something, and when they ended up getting breaking up because of his drug addiction, she ended up telling him to stop cashing the checks, and he didn't. He kept cashing them. So of course that ended up creating a rift in their relationship. So my mom seen that he was still doing it or whatever the case may be, and he was cashing it. Obviously, they had a joint account or whatever. He was cashing the checks in the joint account, so my mom knew that they was coming and knew that he was still like filling out the paperwork, like he was doing whatever, like he was providing whatever service, and he wasn't. And my mom told him to stop, and he didn't. But she kept seeing the deposits in the account or whatever. So one day she ended up, because she went to go cash her check, one day she ended up going to this bank. Now, important detail about this bank is that my dad's girlfriend at the time, my current girlfriend at the time, we're gonna call her Ladybug. I'll give y'all another story time about her probably in another video, but Ladybug is still an angel. She still heaven sent. She is literally one of my favorite people on earth to this day. She ended up working at the bank that my mom was going to cash her check at, right? So her and my mom at this time, they didn't beef, but they didn't like get along. Like, you know, like she was dating my mom's ex, like my dad. So like, I don't think it was no static or whatever, but like they weren't They obviously were not friends. So my mom went to go cash her check or whatever the first day that she tried to do it, and the bank was too crowded. My mom had to go. She was running late, so she couldn't cash her check in a timely fashion at the bank. So she said she was going to come back another day, and she was going to cash her check and then withdraw whatever she had out of the bank because she wanted to separate her money from her husband's now, because they had broken up and he was still using the account to do whatever BS he was doing. So she went back the very next time that she went to the bank, and they told her, baby, it was $0.00 in there. So let me paint the picture. It's around holiday time. My mom and him had just gotten married, and my grandfather gave them thousands of dollars as their wedding present. So that was in there. My mom always worked doubles, and like I said, she was getting her time and a half, trying to do overtime and all that so she could do the most for the holiday. So theirs was thousands of dollars. And she had just got paid, y'all. Thousands of dollars in said account. So when she goes up there, she's like, what do you mean there's nothing in here, whatever. So they go through the transaction history, and they see that there was a withdrawal the day before. So I guess the day that my mom left, he must have set his behind in that line, and he had all the patience in the world and wiped out the entire account. So my mom comes home, she's furious, and I'm witnessing her have this conversation. I'm with her when she's traveling or whatever, but when she's telling this story, I hear her telling it to my nana, my aunt, and like she's just going through it, and she's talking to her friends about it too. And one of the things my mom was like crying about was because she was like, y'all, I was going to cash my check and withdraw my money to separate it so that I can go get my kids Christmas gifts. Like, remember I told y'all, like, when we moved into the house, it was probably like November, and so at this time it's like end of November. They had broken up. We moved into the house, we was living, and then she found the stuff with the sugar booger on it, booger sugar. So my mom is just like, like I remember coming into the living room, like, just minding my own little kid business, and she just was sitting there like in a daze, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And also, we didn't have no like food in the house at the time. Like, we had food, but you know how like it's the end of the month, you scraping together. So my mom was really stressed the fuck out. So obviously when she went to the bank, she didn't like cause a scene or anything like that, but my dad's girlfriend worked there. It got back to her, like what ended up happening or whatever. And she was a manager at this bank as well. She worked there for mad long. I'm not really exactly sure. I don't think her and my mom talked at the bank. I don't know. They could have. I don't know how it ended up getting back to her. But y'all, she ended up hearing about it or whatever. So we're going to talk about that in a second. He ended up going in the bank. He cleared out all of the money. And my mom spent days on days on days on days looking for this man. So finally, after a few days, she ended up finding him. And got what she could get out of him back. And yeah, it just wasn't a pretty sight. I don't even want to get into the details of all of that, but when she did find him, he was actively getting high. He was somewhere he probably should not have been, and it was a really emotional time for my mom. So y'all do with that information what you will, but I ain't gonna send my mama to jail beach. But y'all, it was like a little less than around like $10,000 in this bank account that this man just came in like wiped up and like took, like right before Christmas time. So he left his wife with 3 children with like nothing. So yeah, anyway, the story goes on. He ends up giving my mom whatever money that he had on him or whatever. My mom ended up saying when we were talking, she was like, I'm pretty sure he blew a lot of the money like getting high, because doing that type of drug is like low-key expensive because you have to do it so often, she was saying. So like, she's like, that money was gone. And also, the silver lining in this story was that after my dad's girlfriend ended up finding out, the one who worked at the bank, Ladybug, after Ladybug ended up finding out that this happened to us, I remember she went to the grocery store and she bought my mom, like she bought us all of these groceries. I remember it's crazy because that was the very first time that I ever had a clementine or like a neck. What do you call them things? Them little cuties that now they have. That was my first time ever having them. She bought us the big, they used to come in the wooden crates or whatever. She bought us them, like a big wooden crate of that and hella other groceries. And like I remember when she brung it, like my mom was very grateful to her and all of that stuff or whatever. But I think I remember my mom crying, like, like after she left and all that, and like my mom sobbing, like, oh my God, like, thank you. Because y'all, we really didn't have anything. Like when he initially took the money, yes, we had stuff, but my mom didn't have any money. Like he took her recent check, the thousands of dollars my pop gave them, and, all of the money she had been saving and that he had been saving as well. So we literally had nothing, and we had no way to like make up for it. Like I'm a kid, my brother's a kid, my nana working, and she got to pay her own stuff. So like we literally like was asked out. But she ended up bringing us a bunch of groceries, y'all, and it ended up being able to hold us over. And she also, because she loved my dad, and she loved me too. So Ladybug, she was a really good girlfriend. She's actually, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but like, not in trouble, but I don't give a fuck. She actually is like one of my favorite people that my dad ever dated in life. Like Ladybug literally she is an angel. I don't want to say she was an angel. She literally is an angel. Like, even so, after the situation happened with my stepfather, with my mom's husband, he ended up taking all of our money. Like, even after she bought us groceries, she ended up taking me to Disney World by myself. Like, she didn't have any children at the time or whatever. So she treated me like, like her baby. Whenever I would go over there, like even at my birthday party, she's in the pictures and stuff, y'all. Her, my dad, and my mama. Like, it was never like no static. And like, I'll just say she held us down on that moment. And I think since then, her and my mom have had this mutual respect for each other. And like, my mom, like, low key, like, high key, I'm not gonna say low key, like, couldn't even hate this lady if she wanted to. That lady loved me, like, still to this day. We say happy birthday to each other and stuff, like, all the time still. She's super duper sweet. If she called me and said she needed something, baby, I would do my best to get it done, because that lady really did hold us down. She actually took me to Disney World, I think twice, y'all, and got me all the souvenirs. Like, she really let me be a kid. She never hated on me. She never was mean to me. She never, like, because my dad probably used to do stuff to her, like, not like in a bad way, but guys cheating and hearing about other girls. She never like treated me differently. Even after her and my dad stopped dating, Ladybug literally always looked out for me. Like, if I seen her and I was just hanging out with my friends and she seen me, hey, she'd give me a big old hug. After she ended up doing all of that, everything was cool between her and my mom. And honestly, like, after that relationship ended, they ended up getting divorced shortly after. I don't remember him and my mom, like, after that second situation, like, ever having like a back and forth relationship. To break up to make up. It's like, my mom didn't do that with him. Like, after that last situation where she found out that he lost his job or that he got fired or whatever, he didn't say nothing. And then the dollar bill with the Coke on it, oh baby. After that, my mama was, you're done. And like, he did like come around to like, so when you from the PJs, we all hang out in the same areas. Everything is like in walking distance. Like, he would come around and, I miss you, I love you, this, that, and that. But my mom, like, as far as I know, my mom never bit the bullet. She never like took the bait and like got back with him. So more power to you, girl. But yeah, that shit was crazy as hell, because we ended up having a Christmas. Like, we did get stuff, but like, we obviously could tell the difference in what. Like, we knew something happened. Obviously, my mom didn't hide it from us or nothing like that, which I'm actually grateful for as an adult. Thank you, Mom. But we'll get into that later, because, y'all, I got to go to work. But, yeah, y'all, that's the story time about how my stepfather robbed us. My mom's husband went and robbed us clean right before the holidays, y'all. It was on that bullshit out here, leaving us home by our motherfucking selves, trying to get us killed, sloppy. Anything could have happened to us, y'all. Literally, somebody could have came in the house and did something to us. We could have got into something, like cut the stove on or something, burnt the damn house down. I don't know, but she was crazy as hell. But y'all, thank you for tuning in. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm about to hit the road because I got some things to do tonight. So I'm going to let y'all know when I get back. Bye.